Hey everybody, it's Judy Klock, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia. And I'm coming to you tonight for my first of four Christmas card tutorials. These are free tutorials that you can use to make. I will put the measurements on my blog post tomorrow. Just lower this a bit. Oh, you hear the pitter-patter of the Chocolate Lab's feet. Trooper is now down in the studio, and he's got the zoomies, so you'll have to forgive me if you hear him scuttling about. He likes to come down sometimes when I'm down here. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Let me switch this out. And while I'm getting ready, just let me remind you that on October 1st, the kits went on sale. All the Stampin' Up! Kits went on sale. You can get up to 30% off on some of our kits. And you also have a join special this month where you can get an additional $30 worth of product in your starter kit. So you can get $155 worth of product for $99 plus tax. So today we're going to work with the Greetings of the Season bundle. Now this was part of the Seasons of Green and Gold product suite that was an online exclusive. This was just one of the two bundles that came with it. So we're going to work with just the sentiments today, and the sentiments come with a matching die set. I say matching in that these labels will fit all of the various sentiments. So there are 9 different labels. Okay, so they come like this. They've all got the little hole punch. So you can use them as tags too. So this is a great bundle to have, because not only do you have a variety of greetings for the holiday season, you've got these great shapes to use as like banners or sentiment banners and labels, but you can also get the everyday greetings add-on stamp set that will also fit all of these great shapes. So a really great way to get a lot out of your kit. Now, both of these are sort of simple stamping. These are great for beginners. So here's our first card that we're going to make. Again, this is just the designer series paper, that pretty Seasons of Green and Gold designer series paper. And it's got the gold accents on there. And then we're just going to step it up. And for this one, we're really just going to let that designer series paper really be the focal point of our card. And we're just going to add a very little greeting. So let's go ahead. Let's get started with this card first. Okay, because it's really simple. We're only going to stamp a couple of items. So I've got here, this is Old Olive. It's our standard 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of basic white that's going to go on the inside. This is 5 1/4 by 4. I've got that designer series paper for the front. That is also 5 1/4 by 4. And then we've got some other pieces. We've got a piece of pecan pie that is 4 by 2. Another piece of Old Olive that is 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. And we've got another piece of pecan pie that is 2.5 by 3. 2.5 by 3. And then we've got 2 1/4 by 1 and by 2 3/4. So those are our measurements for this. And again, all of this will be written in the blog post, so you don't really have to worry about that. But we're going to start with our Old Olive, and we're going to stamp for the inside. We're going to stamp Merry Christmas. And this, wrong one. These are 2 separate stamps, but I've actually put them on one block. Can you see that? So this way I'm going to stamp them at the same time. They will fit on one block, and they will also just go right in your inside. Okay, don't you just love that font? Love it, so pretty. And then we've got our little piece of basic white here, and we're going to stamp It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. Again, this is just about the right size for this. Okay. Let's see. Oh, now Emma's down here. Now the German Shepherd is down here. So you never know who's going to come visit you in the studio. Could be anybody. With 6 to choose from, you never know who's going to end up being down here. But let me know where you're watching from. I am in Virginia, as I said. It's the East Coast. It's about 7:35 here. The rain has finally stopped. I'm looking for my Stampin' seal, which I just had, like I just filled it. I just had it. The rain has finally stopped. We had about a solid week of rain, as a lot of the country did in southern parts, not nearly as bad as some of our friends and neighbors in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. So prayers for all of them. But I'm glad to see the sun today. I think everybody's just glad to see the sun. Anywho, we're going to go ahead and add this. Okay, we've got our piece of paper. Isn't that beautiful? Designer Series paper. This is Seasons of Green and Gold. Let me just remember what it's called. It is Seasons of Green and Gold. And it's the specialty Designer Series paper. The suite came with 2 stamp sets, well, 2 bundles, 2 stamp sets with matching dies. It had the Seasons of Green and Gold paper, and it had the greenery vellum. So that's what we're using for our virtual bingo in November. We're using this Designer Series paper and also the vellum. All right, so we're just going to go ahead here. Let's add these. Okay. I'm going to add this. Now again, this is just 1/4 of an inch shorter. So we're going to have a little border all around. Trying to make sure I stay in frame. Now, before I put it on, I want to cut a piece of, this is retired ribbon, but it works for this, so I'm going to use it. It is the old shimmer ribbon. It's gold shimmer ribbon. It's been retired, but I didn't want the very vanilla ribbon that came with this. To me, didn't work with this particular piece of Designer Series paper because it is very white. It's not really very creamy like the very vanilla. So I wanted to go with a gold ribbon, and the only thing that we really had that wasn't, we have the gold thread or the gold twine, but that is a little too narrow. So I had an old bolt of this old gold shimmer ribbon, so I just picked it out and used that. All right, now we're going to add this to that piece of pecan pie. Is it pecan or is it pecan? I don't know. I guess it just depends upon where you are, that you have different pronunciations for different words. When I first came down to the Washington, D.C. area, I worked with a woman who pronounced a washing machine as a washing machine. I had never heard that. Having grown up in the Northeast, I was surprised. I didn't know for a minute there. It took me a minute to figure out what she was talking about, but definitely different dialects depending upon where you are in the country. It's amazing sometimes. My kids laugh because when I talk to one of my nephews who is still in the New York area, they say, your New York accent comes out. Well, I guess some things you just never forget. Let me know where you're watching from. Do I have any of my New York fans up there? I was born and raised in New Rochelle in Westchester County. Shout out to New Rochelle, the Queen City of the Long Island Sound. And now I'm down in Middletown, Virginia. So quite a distance from where I was born and raised. All right, we're going to go ahead and add that on there. It's kind of like off center. And now, again, I don't really have any gold gems, but I have some of these pastel backed sequins that are gold, and we're just going to go ahead and add them. I do have some gold gems on order, but they haven't arrived yet. So I am just going to go ahead and add. Oh, let's get that little hair out of there. Okay, there we go. Let's add some of these. Now, one of these had there's a little bit of a cut in the paper there. So we're just going to cover that up with a gem. That's what I love. You can cover up almost any sin with an embellishment. So there we go. Little bobble on the paper, and we made it go away by just strategically placing our embellishment there. So that is our first card. So again, really very simple. It's all straight cuts. We didn't do anything fancy, but that Designer Series paper with the gold really just kind of makes it look very nice. All right, let's go on to our second card. This one is, I think, one of my favorites. So we have here, this is Mossy Meadow, again, 8.5, 5.5, scored 4 1/4. I have 2 pieces of Very Vanilla that are both 5 1/4 by 4. We're going to use one on the inside and one on the outside. Then I have 4 pieces of Designer Series paper. These are all cut to 2 inches by 2 5/8. And we're going to use these to create that center like starburst. And we're going to alternate where we put these. Okay. So now let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to stamp on the inside piece. We're going to stamp, may your holiday be filled with warmth and cheerful celebration. Kind of hard to read these backwards sometimes. So let me know where you're watching from. Go ahead and give me a shout out. Tell me where you're from. If you're watching on replay, go ahead and say that you're watching on replay and tell me where you are tuning in from. I like to know where everybody's tuning in from. So are you guys ready for the holidays? Because you know that once October 1st hits, it is just a very fast slide from October 1st into January 1st. I don't know why, but the time just seems to go shoo, flies right on by. So I've already got a lot of my Christmas cards made. So I told my daughter the other day, I'm like, I think I might start writing some of them out and just getting them ready because I got some time. So when do you start writing out your cards? Have you started making them yet? I guess is the first question I should ask. And once you started making them, when do you mail them out or write them out? Okay, so we're going to take these 4 pieces of paper and I'm going to start with, it doesn't matter which one you start with. You can start anywhere. I'm just going to take, and I'm going to kind of fold this one corner back. Okay, and I'm just going to, I guess that's about maybe a 1/2 inch. Okay, so then I want to do this one, and I want to make sure that I kind of get these going in the same way. So I'm just going to kind of put them there, and I'm going to fold this one back. So I have about the same width there. Okay, I'm going to take this one. We're going to, if I can pick it up, do the same thing. And I'm only using this there really just as a guide. It's not for any other purpose. This just kind of helps make sure that they are all folded at about the same space. Okay, that one goes there. That one will go there. And then we got one more. This is coming up here. Okay. And again, we're just going to fold this back. And I wish I had an exact science to tell you, mark it here and fold it and do this. I eyeballed it. I'm sure that you can figure out a way. And I think I did screw this up. Which is what I thought would happen. Okay. I messed it up, but everything is fixable. There we go. Okay. That's what I was afraid of. So you have to make sure that they're all going in the same general direction because you want to have that center area open. So now we're going to come in with our liquid glue. I'm going to pull in my silicone mat. Let me move these out of the way. And again, it doesn't matter which corner you start in. And I'm just going to add some liquid glue. Not a lot. You don't need a lot. Okay. This is just a very little bit. Make sure you kind of get it good in the corners, right? We don't want our corners lifting up. Okay. And then we're going to carefully, we're going to put it and have the corners match, have the edges match. Okay. We're going to come in with our next piece, which is this piece. And that's going to go right there. And again, using liquid glue gives you a little bit of extra time to wiggle the paper into the place where you want it. Okay, now. There we go. All right, got those 2. Let's come here. Let's do this one. Okay. All right, put a little bit more down there. Okay. Put that there. Now, normally I say stamp and then stick, but because of this design, it's sort of hard to stamp it first. So just be extra cautious when you're stamping. Go slow, take it slow, right? No rush. No rush at all. And this piece goes right there. Okay, now those should all fit nicely. They should all, the edges should just kind of butt right up against one another. Now we're ready to take our Mossy Meadow again. We're going to stamp Season's Greetings. I'm going to kind of stamp it high. Season's Greetings. And then I'm going to stamp To You and Yours. Okay. All right. And that's why we don't stamp it first, because we want to make sure that we center this in that opening. So now we're ready to go ahead and put this on our card front. Okay, again, this is a very simple card. There's not a lot, but sometimes it just depends upon, what designer series paper you use and how you can sort of accentuate that paper to make your card look a little bit more difficult than it is. Now, on my original card, I glued these down. I didn't like that after I had done it. So I'm just going to pop these on with a dimensional and kind of let those pop up a little bit. I think it will just give the card a little bit more dimension and make it look better. Again, that's just mine. We'll look at both of them when we're done, and you can decide for yourself. But I kind of like having these popped up on dimensionals. And you don't have to do this. I just like to make sure that these are going to stay in place. So I just wanted to put those dimensionals there. And again, I'm going to come in with those gems, those gold sequins. And we are just going to add some of these to our card. All right. Let's add one more down here. And that is our second card. So again, fairly easy. So this is my sample. And as you can see, these were flat. I didn't pop those up. And these, we popped these up. So I think that when you pop them up, it actually just gives the card a bit more dimension and it's a little bit more interesting to look at. But again, that's, just my opinion. These are your creations. You can do whatever you want because they're yours. But these are just, again, two very simple cards that you can make. And we've really just kind of let that designer series paper really do the heavy lifting and carry this card. We didn't add anything special. These are all either, pretty much all straight cuts. We didn't even do any die cutting. We just kind of let that paper do its magic and added just a little bit of embellishment and some dimensionals to give it just a little bit more interest. And that's it. So these dimensions will be on my blog. I will always go ahead and usually the next day, by Saturday, maybe, I usually have the blog post up and I'll come back and put the link on the YouTube video description. So if you do want to get these dimensions to make these cards yourself, give me about 24 to 48 hours and those dimensions will be there for you. That is it. If you want to learn more about me or you want to sign up for my mailing list, down below, right after this video post, there will be a link to sign up for my Crafty Chatter newsletter. I always kind of include, what's happening, what my events are coming up, what Stampin' Up events are coming up. World Card Making Day is Saturday. So I hope that you will be making cards on Saturday. And Stampin' Up is having a free event on Saturday for World Card Making Day. You can sign up for free. Just go to stampinup.com. And I think there's a link there for the World Card Making Day event. And then I've also got my last virtual Stampin' Bingo for 2024 coming up. So if you go to my Stampin' with Crafty Klock Facebook page under the events, there's all the info there, and it will be in tomorrow's newsletter. That is it for me. You all have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy it. Hopefully it's going to be sunny where you are and you can get out and enjoy this beautiful fall weather. That's it. See you all next week. Bye.